If you like fishing and foiling on a Saturday with the boys and family lunches and epic days on Sunday, then this could be the boat for you. Ladies and gents, this is the Riviera 505 SUV. She's a size that's going to do a lot of things for many of you. I suspect it's not going to be your first boat, but she's also a really great stepping stone vessel. So if you're on that journey to a bigger vessel and you want something that's going to have, let's face it, good resale value, so it's going to be a nice easy trade up to that next journey that you're on, I think this 505 SUV is definitely going to be perfect for that. So this is a very detailed tour after this video. For those of you who like what you see and you want to see how she performs, that's the next video. We're going to be going really fast and doing a little bit of maneuvering on what is a busy broadwater day today, and then we're going out in the ocean to take you along for the ride and see what it's like in the swells. My name's Dan Jones, welcome to Dan's Boat Life. We're just going to start up here on the bow and I'm going to make my way aft, and then we're getting into what is a very lovely interior on this one. This boat's going to America. I think they got 10 boats, did you say, going on a ship to America next week? Quite a few heading in that direction. Probably makes sense with the Aussie dollar at the moment. So the SUV has got a bit more of a flair. When you have a look at the boat's hulls in detail, when you compare them to the sports yachts, some of the other models, if you're someone who wants to do a little bit more offshore cruising as opposed to what those guys are doing on that Riviera right there, which many people seem to enjoy in Australia. If you're doing more or a little bit more offshore as opposed to inshore, you may see a bit of value in getting the SUV because the flare is going to send more of that spray out. So it just might be a little bit more pleasurable for you. But we can see the anchor equipment, typical Riv stuff. Any mess that gets created by the anchor, bringing up mud, etc., can be hosed out. It's all dammed off in this area here, and it'll make its way straight overboard. We do actually have a camera, so once you have released the safety, you don't even need to come forward to sight your chain because you can see it from the helm. Super nice. We've got the chain counter as well, but we can operate it from the bow. We can wash it with fresh or raw water, and you can see we've got our winch handle. This is drained as well. And then on the starboard side, we've got super deep. It is fender storage, but we've got plenty more fender storage. So just look how deep that is, drained as well. But we have a lot more. So depending on whether you're in Australia or America, where we tend to berth boats with a finger, or Europe, where you need to do Mediterranean style mooring and you've got to have lots more fenders, that's where that locker may be useful for you. Interesting few things going on up here on the bow. So we've got probably a relatively skinny sun pad, super comfortable, a simple cover that just goes straight over it. It stays in position, so it's perfectly functional. As you can see, we've actually got the backrest feature already, but hidden underneath here is a shallow storage area. So this whole thing hinges up and you can store some items. It's only a few inches deep, but I do love how we've got the walk through, so you can walk from port to starboard on this walkway without having to go up and over or all the way around. I'll just quickly show you on port. This is fender storage, so that's nice and deep. We have another locker, same side on the starboard side, but it's shallower, so that's probably going to be better for covers, where you're going to more favour putting fenders just here. Courtesy lights, navigation lights, safety rail, the stainless steel on all of these Rivieras is top notch. You cannot fault them. The design of the windscreen doesn't introduce too much glare. Really comfortable to drive. You'll see that in the next video. Stainless steel windscreens with a washer function. You can operate it from the helm. Super easy. We do have the spotlight up on the roof there, so sometimes be careful where you aim them. That might introduce a little bit of light bouncing back in your face if you've got the sun lounge up, for example, so just be aware of that. But what I do love, just come back here, these big, we do have air conditioning, of course, it's a Riviera, but look at these big sliding windows. They're absolutely huge, super easy to operate. And you kind of even have the option to use the helm from a standing position midship starboard. So yes, we don't have a side opening door. You've got to go up in the next model range to the 585 for that and bigger, but it does give you a bit of flexibility in that design. This serves as a little bit of a grab rail walking forward and aft. Obviously you have this one here, and then you just come down the one step, midships cleat just here, and we do have a forward midships cleat as well, as you see on all ribs. It is noticeable being a bigger boat, engine room ventilation just through here. Both sides, it's equally spaced on these models. You do have quite a lot of space to move. So if you're a bigger person, you're going to be quite comfortable. Multiple people walking around this boat are going to be comfortable as well. The aft deck here is where some of you water sports, fishing, water aqua men or women are going to appreciate this design over a sports yacht where they focus more seating out the back of the boat. So if you want to load this up with toys, obviously we can do tender deployment out here, but all sorts of other water activities. I am imagining quite a few of you using this as your base for some wingdingers and foiling. What an awesome activity. This can be home base wherever you are. Go and pick the best spot for wind and off you go. Fishing as well. Whilst it's not its primary focus, these are much more of a family comfortable cruising boat and giving you a little bit of everything as opposed to being solely focused on fishing. But that's why my point about being a little bit better on the resale, that if you're not trying to just focus your vessel on one occupation and you sort of welcome in a bigger demographic, you get a better resale value on the end. So that's where I was going with that. So we've got two opening doors, so easy access depending on whether you've got a finger on starboard or port. And if you have a tender mounted on this drop-down swim platform, you're still going to be able to access the boat with ease. We've got a swim pull-out shower just here, line storage. It was in here. That's a manual bilge pump there. Obviously we've got electric. We've got cleats here. The fairlead's a little bit small just through there, but I suppose that's going to be okay for most mooring lines. You've got more line storage here, same again on the other side, and I've actually got my shore power tucked in just low on starboard. This is an American boat, so that's a 110 as opposed to the 240. And if you haven't already noticed, got a cute little seat here, so this just folds out, so it just folds down, and then if you were wanting to do a bit of fishing out here, you can fold it up and out of the way, and the cushion does stow neatly and out of the way. We've also got a deep storage on the center line. Forward of that is engine access, but that's potentially also going to be good as a kill box if you want to do some fishing. We have some more storage. I think it was on port, and then on starboard we've got access into the engine room as well, to the overhead of the IPS. We've got a wing station just out here, starboard aft. Now, because we have the dynamic positioning system, this boat is a solo operator. We'll talk about that in the next video, but you can literally just press DPS, walk just gently out to or slowly out to this aft wing station, then take control, and you can slide the thing any which way you want. Easy access forward and aft. You do not need to involve any of your guests in the operation of this vessel if you don't want to. A little bit of training and you'll be fine. The refrigeration on this boat is epic and it is extensive. So typical Riviera, big insulation. We've got our cool plates electrically operated down in the fridge. We've got the ice maker just in here. We've also got the barbie just underneath here. You can see the hot plate, two cookers just here, the flat and the grilled one there. That looks like hot and cold water. Decent amount of storage and a bin in here, and we even have some LED lights overhead for the barbie if you're cooking at night time, and a little bit of protection just over this area from the overhang. That's not going anywhere. That's proper stainless steel supports, and you can see a little aft facing camera camouflaged with the stainless steel, and these nice LED lights which are going to bathe this area in light of an evening. I also like, now this is personal choice because obviously you option your boat as you wish, but from an Aussie and even an American perspective, we've got the teak inside protected, and we're just straight onto the fiberglass in the exposed parts of the boat, so much better from a maintenance perspective. come in and enjoy this, it's your own little Alfresco dining area. This is super cool because this space can be protected with clears. We've got this one set up, but this can also be just a mesh, so a mozzie screen if you wish. So depending on where you are in the world, you can set it up as you see fit. You can also have air conditioning for this space, or you can just air condition forward into the saloon. So again, depending on where you are in the world, you do you. But we've got electrically opening sunroofs there and there. This styling piece, externally you can see out, so people can't so much see in, but we can still enjoy a little bit of the view out. But from this direction aft, it's great. And this lounge here folds out and turns into a day bed, so that's a super nice, pleasant place to sleep and essentially read a book and enjoy the afternoon. But then if you want to have a meal, you can also utilize this area if you don't wish to eat inside. So beautiful teak table, that just folds over like that, so you've got a little bit more space if you need to utilize it. And underneath this seat is a massive fridge. So basically these two backrests fold up, the seat base all comes up, and you've got a long, huge fridge which you can use for long-term storage. Just under here, or behind this patch, is all your battery switches, house, engine, and fuses. So that's the first part of the day. And then when you go through, you've got grab handles down the center line, carried forward into the boat, pretty easy to access. And we've got this big stainless steel sliding door, and then the fold-up window just here. So it's a bit of a serving window with a fiddle here, so nothing's going to fall off. So come in, and there's a lot going on here. It really is lovely. We've got the windows open, we've got the sunroof open. You can do you can obviously set the air conditioning. All Rivieras are designed for Australian heat, so that means tropical heat, so you can really set it up as you see fit. But I'll start on the starboard side and we'll sort of work our way around. I like how we've got the big windows. We've got a decent amount of headroom, which then increases as you go forward. So if you're a big bloke, sort of need to operate around the helm, you've got plenty of space. But this L shape is lovely, and see how cute this is. It's actually also, it's also a footrest. So you just pull that. Look at this. How cool is that? Just nice, simply done. Isn't that lovely? So we've actually got a bit of storage underneath here. We've got another fridge just in here, nicely camouflaged with the timber. And then you see all these fiddles, you'll see these all the way around every Riviera boat, because these are proper offshore vessels, so you don't want that opening in a seaway. I like the marble top. It's probably Korean, but it looks kind of cool. We've got some 110 volt charging in here, but we also have USB-A and USB-C. I saw that on most of the plugs, so that's kind of handy. And then we come into this U-shaped galley, which is really easy to work. So there's a lot going on here. We've got the bin in the corner, which is a big, deep primary bin. You can wash that out. We've got the stainless steel sink here. We've got heaps of glassware, all Riviera branded coffee cups and the champagne glasses and the wine glasses and everything. They're all up here. And a little bit of storage. You've got your gen set just there. You don't need to operate the gen set from that because we have C-Zone. It's really, really simple operating any Riv with C-Zone, because basically you get to the boat, it's going to be on dock unattended, and you just press cruising. And if you just want to have a party, you just press entertainment. If you want to sleep, well, guess what? You just press sleep. And so what that does, it just switches all the buttons that are required for that activity that you're pursuing, and you don't need to go through the switchboard and turn them all on and off individually. It even works out the generator ship to shore power. So if you're coming off shore power, which is just a cable connecting you to the power at the marina, and then you're transferring to your generator power, so that's the ship's power now creating the 110 or the 240. As soon as you unplug, it just automatically does the switching for you. So there's no sort of confusion trying to explain to guests or other people who are helping you out with the boating for the day. It just does it for you. Nice little shallow storage there, probably good for some more bits and pieces. I think this one was a little mini dishwasher. That's cool. That'll do the job for a few people. We've got a microwave just above that. We've got some nice drawers, deep storage with another drawer just in here. More refrigeration. Okay, and that's a fridge here as well, so it just keeps going. And as you can see, we've got these fiddles all the way around. Storage underneath the sink, drawers. You know, you're fully sorted. And one more, a little bit deeper on this side, just here. And in those drawers was actually your plates. I think it was this one. So even when you're bashing around in the waves, all of your plates and bowls and things are not going to go anywhere. You're kind of well sorted. You can put your games just underneath here on the center line. And then we have another space which is going to be suitable for dining, should you wish. We're elevated now, so you go up this one step. And this is great for long distance cruising. I would absolutely use a boat for cruising your 100, your 200 nautical miles up and down the coast, because this is definitely something you could sit happily at 22, 23 knots in the ocean all day long on autopilot. And this will be a comfortable space to enjoy the journey from, because you've got great views. You can be protected from the sun just there. We've got a nice amount of overhang. If you can see, the design of the roof actually hangs over, so the midday sun doesn't penetrate too badly. And we've got a decent amount of demisting and air conditioning in this space if you don't want to have the windows open, so everyone can be comfortable and out of the sun. But this lounging area is great. All these cushions, they just customize everything for you to your sort of taste at the factory. They have a whole experience center in Queensland, so I recommend going and checking that out, because they'll customize it to your needs. But this, I reckon this area would be good for throwing laptops and electronics. So maybe if there was a 240 or 110 plug in here one day in the future, it seems logical for that. It kind of seems like the place to throw things, but you do you. This folds up and out of the way if we need to reduce that size. And we come down the step and straight over to the Helm, where it's just typical Riv, to be fair. But just look how deep and comfortable these seats are. And I think, you guys tell me if you know more about these seats. I think that's for people with long legs, because if you pull it out, it kind of just gives you a little bit of extra support there. Obviously you've got the forward and aft movement just here. I think that's what that's for. And I like to see the armrest on this one, because again, when you're in a seaway, if you're rolling around, you haven't got the Seakeeper on, that just gives you a little bit more of a sense of security. And also this person, if they need to get up and move around whilst you're underway, you're not interfering with the skipper. So I think it makes sense having the helmsman or helmswoman on the starboard side, tucked in, comfortable, all the controls within reach. I was driving with a preference for standing up. So I think if I was on autopilot, I'd probably sit down and just observe. And if I'm actively driving, I found it comfortable to drive like this, and then my hands just fall quite naturally on the controls like so. And then I've got everything that I need right after the throttles on the switch panel just there. And I've got another switch panel or buttons for the touch screen just aft of that, but it's obviously a multifunctional display where I can touch all the buttons as well. Sometimes in a seaway that can be difficult, so that's where this switch pad might become useful. We've got our Seakeeper panel just there, our primary joystick aft of that, our engine ignition just there. This is our engine diagnostics. That's our that's for the spotlight. I've got phone charging and a great little storage area for multiple phones along here. This is the second C zone. This is the smaller, basically it's a repeater of the primary C zone, which is the bigger screen. This is your Fusion stereo. We've got a drink holder here, second drink holder on the starboard side, air conditioning control at the helm, and we've got some really good powerful air conditioning vents just there and there. So yeah, really everything you need. We also have drop down blinds for when we're at anchor and you want to knock out the sun. VHF just tucked in there, and then your Fireboy system. Obviously that's automatic, but there's a manual operation as well. And also the sunroof opens just here, is operated via the button just there. And these lights above the helm, I don't know if you notice, you can actually dim that one, and it's red. Obviously it's not going to ruin your night vision. So that's all pretty nice. Strip lights, down lights, mood lights, it's all very pleasant. We do have some storage underneath the helm, and we've got a little bit more under the primary helm. And the footrest here, like all the Rivs, that's a timber footrest, but it's got some grip incorporated into it. So if you are driving for extended periods of time, you're going to be quite comfortable. So we should probably make our way downstairs and check out the accommodation. I think that's why I was sort of touching on this point. Like, I think most of you guys who've had or who are considering this boat, and please jump in the comments and let me know, what are you comparing this with, or what boat do you have now? Because I really do read all that, and I love to watch, listen and learn, and it helps me decide which boats I should film next. But when I look at this 505, I think you've probably had a smaller boat, perhaps another Riviera before. You really understand how you like to enjoy your days and your weekends. You're going, you know, I really do want to do those activities on a Saturday and take the family out on a Sunday and have some long weekends, and perhaps, you know, the occasional long journey, but maybe you're projecting those longer 6-week cruises for later on in life, and that's a bigger boat. So you do see something in this size range that's easily tradable, whether it's on the brokerage market or giving it back to your dealer. So maybe that's a thought process for you. Please let me know if it is or it isn't. So got decent amount of storage forward on both sides. Beautiful timber work, love the textures. We've got escape hatches, but also ventilation above this bed. This is the VIP, this is not the master. We've got, pretty sure this bed hinges up on gas struts. So you can put some, obviously we've got a vacuum cleaner in there, and we've got some covers. It's a brand new boat, so she hasn't been delivered there yet. But I would say that's a good space for some airline luggage. So if you've got some carry-on luggage, you might put that there. We've got the small TV recessed into the wall. Got some hanging locker just there. We've actually got some opening drawers. We've got 4 of them. So this is going to be great for bedding. And oh, there you go. It's already got some towels and stuff in there. So you've got 4 of those. And then we've got another locker on the starboard side. But you've actually got private access into what is also the day head. So let me just, you go through that door and I'll just show you. So that is your access from the VIP into the head and shower compartment. But through this door on the center line, it's also the day head. So you got a separate stand-up shower, decent amount of storage, nice vanity, mirror, everything you need. It's air conditioned. You do have natural ventilation as well. And then obviously this head is shared with the guest accommodation. So that's a decent twin bunk setup. I think the favorite bunk is probably the lower one, because you've got access to a bit of natural light and that nice hull window. Little bit of storage, well vented. We don't have any deck hatches because we're underneath the helm, so we really only have those hull windows. But if you just look forward for a second, I want to show you. So before you get into the VIP, washer and dryer. So this does make it a proper boat for staying extended periods. So how good's that? And there's even more going on when we get into the master, because it's super luxurious, but that's handy. Very, very deep storage on the center line underneath the floor here, which is great again for luggage. So big luggage from the airplane can go in there. But we come in this door, beautiful timber work by the way. Behind this door is a full stand-up mirror, but you'd think that's the master head. It's not. It's a full walk-in wardrobe. Check that out. With beautiful little windows. So that's super fancy. But then you come in aft and you've actually got your own beautiful head, separate shower, nice vanity. So just check out this door. It's a nice pocket sliding door, but come in and have a look at that. So that's the master head. So separate walk-in wardrobe, beautiful little master head, separate shower, and then you're coming back into this full, probably a king-size bed with nice big windows back here. This, how lovely is this? So I think this is a lovely space to hang out. You've got the beautiful big window, drop-down blinds, and there's actually storage everywhere. So we've got storage up here. We actually have that you can even remove this panel here. You've got bedside tables, beautiful big bed. I can stand up on either side of the bed because the roof line is actually different. It changes from over the bed to the side of the bed. And then as you move, you go down a step, okay? So I'm 5'7", I've still got that much space above my head. And then up again, these are all soft textures. And then on the port side, we have quite a lot of storage. So, you know, you can both pick drawers. You can have quite a few, get 2 each, and then you can fight over these 2, I would say. And here, I think, if you're the designer, please feel free to tell me. I think this is where you throw some of the throw cushions that are just part of the bed dressing, and you're not necessarily going to need them of an evening. I think that's what that's designed for. Feel free to correct me in the comments. We've got charging, we've got some light switches. You know, your bedside tables are actually pretty deep, and they've also got a bit of a fiddle, so great for throwing phones. Air conditioning operations just there, lights straight over the bed. It's a very nice space, and you've essentially got everything you need for a long cruise, a day cruise, or an adventure cruise. That's why I think this is such a cool size. Like, it just sort of does everything, and it's still easy to manage. So let's go up these stairs, and we're going to show you the engine bay, and then we'll wrap this video and talk about who's going to see the most value out of owning something like this. So guys, this is another reason why you go for a boat in the 50-foot size range. This engine room, I'm standing on the engine room floor right now. There's a bucket load of space, and those opening hatches we had aft can vent this space quite quickly. So if you're in a hot country and you've got to do something, you can get the hot air out. So pass me this camera. Obviously we've got a ladder to go down, but the amount of space and the headroom is excellent. So I'm actually just gonna go all the way forward and try and give you an appreciation of this. But we can see the gyro on the center lines and batteries forward of that. And then we're looking to port now. And there's the IPS 950, 725 horsepowers. We've actually got the vacuum flush system forward of that. Hot water tank, refrigeration above. That's the engine venting, and they're on both sides. We've got a water tank just to port, and you can even get around. Let me just show you. You could walk around both of these motors, no worries, like heaps of space there. We've got some master vaults just up above that, and we can see some more batteries aft. You can see access to the IPS unit itself, raw water intakes, batteries on the center line just there. Now we're looking over to starboard. Again, epic amount of space. You know, also, I guess because we don't have a tender garage, we've just got those storage boxes. It's allowing us all of this usable, workable space to play with, because again, you can move around on the starboard side around this motor. That's some engine room venting. We can see the shore power retraction system. I'd say that is just there. And another water tank. The fuel tanks are integral, built into these boats, so that's going to be forward of this bulkhead. This is the generator. You can see all the power distribution. We've got our sight gauge for the fuel tank and the fuel filters, easily accessible, and that's actually going to be boom, behind that is going to be the fuel tank just there. So super, super nice. That's the big raw water pickups for the main engines just there, and you can see straight into the filters like so. How nice is everything down here? That's really, really cool. And you can see another Riviera attention to detail. See how all of these bolts have been done with a torsion wrench to a specific tolerance, and everything's marked. And don't you love how everything is in English? Because that's not always the case on some boats that I test. For some reason, some mechanics speak French or Spanish. That doesn't work for us. So, very useful. I like that. Okay, so I hope that video was of value to you guys. Coming up next is going to be the very detailed sea trial. We will be taking the boat out in the ocean, running her through her paces inshore as well. So just going to touch on who's best suited to this boat, some design feedback pros, design feedback potential cons, and then we'll lead straight into the performance. So who do I see is probably going to see the most value out of this boat? Probably you serious water sports fans. Someone who, or people, families who know how they enjoy time on the water. If you're You know, if you're brand new to boating, is this going to be a boat for you? Yeah, absolutely. It could still serve you very, very well with the right amount of training, because it is getting on the bigger side for a total newbie, but you can definitely get that with Riviera. But if you're someone who's come from your first, second, and now this is possibly your third boat, and you're really dialed in on how your boat life works, if you see or use case from fishing to different water sports, or just sitting around and you do this whole aft deck entertaining thing, cruising Sydney Harbour or Miami or wherever you are, then great. That's awesome. So just think about that. Also, someone who has a little bit more focus on offshore cruising. And so all of the Rivieras are fantastic offshore boats. That's hands down. You can always be comfortable in the ocean at a Riviera. But with the flared bow up front, it's just going to send a little bit more of that spray out and away from the boat. So if you are tending to spend a greater percentage of your overall time in the ocean, you may see a little bit of value in that. So just consider that. Some cons, it's really hard to fault these boats, to be fair, but if you were thinking from an operational perspective, the lack of a side opening door might be something that you would see as a con. Just if you need to, you can press dynamic positioning system, manage your guests, make your way around to the aft station just here. But just think about that. Some of you will be used to, or you've seen other boats. Obviously, as you move up through this SUV range, you do have access to a side opening door. So that's not a concern for you. So just think about that. Really, anything else is just going to be superficial. It's these boats are just such good things. I think they're one of the best builders in the world. So I'd be, you know, clutching at straws to try and find negatives, to be fair. Competition. I can think of a few boats. I'll talk about that in the next video. Performance. She's quick. She gets up and goes. She's actually quite fun to drive, and she really banks into the turns if you want her to. But that's in the next video. So guys, if you see value from what I'm doing on this channel, if you use it to aid in your search for your best boat life, that's literally why I'm making these videos. Just go ahead and subscribe. Share these videos with your mates. Jump in the comments. Give us a like. Any activity that gets noticed by the factories, that's how I get in front of them and get permission to drive more boats. I think I literally probably have one of the best jobs in the world. Thanks to you guys. So see you in the next video. We're going to be going for a fun drive. Hope you enjoyed that. See you, legends.